My name is Luke Burridge and this is my Patreon launch video. That's right, I'm starting a Patreon. And that is so I can do more things for jugglers without having to worry about taking time away from my real job. I'm very lucky that my real job is professional juggler and I can perform for a living. But for each thing that I do for other jugglers, I have to kind of take time away from that, take time off work to be able to do that. And I'd like to be able to have that time that I take off my real job to be rewarded monetarily, to put it bluntly, because I do a lot of things, of course, not just juggling videos, but also juggling videos, top 40 jugglers of the year, vlogging from juggling conventions too, also Fight Night Combat organization, photographs of jugglers on stage, the juggling calendar, and also in the future I'd like to start up the juggling podcast again. Now all of these things take a lot of time and investment and time off from my real job, and that's what this where you come in. People who like juggling videos, people who like to go to juggling conventions and want juggling conventions to be better, people who like Fight Night, combat, and just, you know, fans of me, I guess. So that's it. I'm going to go through some things here, which some notes, but that's generally the thing. If you want to see more of what I've done in the past, this is where you go to patreon.com/Luke Burridge. Go to Luke Burridge on Patreon and support there. Just a few things that if this Patreon starts up that I'd like to be able to do more of in the future. Of course, juggling vlogging. It does take a lot of time and a lot of effort. This year I've put out 12 juggling vlogs, which you think, oh, one a month? That's not too bad, but most of them have just come from juggling conventions like the NJF. I put out like 8 at the European Juggling Convention and the Russia Juggling Convention and the Catch and things like that. But the year before that, from October 2016 to October 2017, I put out, what have I got here? 61 juggling vlogs in that time, plus 22 Fight Night videos, plus many other trick videos and act videos and, you know, other bits and pieces too. So, you know, in 2016 to 2017, over 100 juggling videos. This year, about, what, 15 or something like that. So I'd like to ramp back up juggling production. Another thing that I'd like to be able to spend more time on is of course, the top 40 jugglers of the year. It takes a lot of work every year, and the more people who support me on Patreon, the bigger and better production I can do there, more time and effort I can put into making that run smoothly and make an interesting way of presenting the results. In the future, I'd love to work on a top 40 jugglers of the year website where people can see all of the data that I have on my computer, but it's really difficult to share that data in any meaningful way. So I'd love to make a database website so people can see how many votes each juggler has got all the way through. Of course, that would take a lot of work, and I'd need some support from Patreon to be able to fund that in terms of money and time as well. I'd love to do more stuff from the archives. I've got juggling video archives going all the way back to 2000. For example, last year I put out the unedited practice of Anthony Gatto and a vlog about that. Anthony Gatto is better than you can ever imagine. It's like 20,000 views on those videos. I know that people care about this kind of thing and are willing to see more of that from me in the future. And I'd be willing to put it out there, but of course it does take time to look back through all this stuff. For example, I put out some juggling videos of Jay Gilligan and Benjamin Smalls performing on stage in 2000, Bibu and Bishu as well. Did a video about Ben Beaver, and that took a lot of time looking back through hundreds of hours worth of juggling footage to be able to get that. So I've still got on top of that about another 70 hours of juggling video tapes from conventions from 2000 through to 2007, and then lots of stuff on hard drives from then as well. And that needs logging just to be able to keep track of that and to put it out individual videos and interesting things. I've got lots of that to do, but again, it takes time. I'd love to do some more historical research videos, like the Francis Brunn combination trick video that I did with the Brunn finish. There was a lot of work went into that, a lot of scouring. I did research, I contacted lots of jugglers, and they actually sent me never seen before juggling video footage to be included in the video. That kind of stuff takes a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of time, and a lot of editing and research skill. I'd love to do that more in the future, but of course I need the support for that kind of thing. Video essays as well, the motion triangle and Kennedy cone. Do you want to see more videos like that? With support, I'd be able to do that. That took months of thinking about it, reading through all the stuff that I could find online, finding all the video footage, putting it together, like a few weeks of writing and editing to put that video together. I'd love to do more of those in the future, but of course it takes time. And of course the really nerdy stuff, the tutorials. For example, I looked up, is a 4-ball cascade possible? This video, 8,500 views. Now those must be like really nerdy jugglers to watch a video, like a 20-minute video about one juggling pattern. But I'd love to get more into the weeds in juggling tricks and patterns and some real investigation stuff, some really hardcore nerdy workshop stuff. But again, that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. So if you want to see that more in the future, get onto Patreon. And of course, I'd love to be supported to do things like the Top 40 Jugglers and like Fight Night Combat, which is a big thing. Like Fight Night Combat is like a part-time job for me. Back in 2012, before I started running Fight Night Combat and the website and the rankings, there was about 4 tournaments each year with about 20-30 people taking part. This year, there's been 60 tournaments, or about 60 tournaments in the last year, with 550 people taking part in Fight Night Combat. And I'd love to grow it in the future. Mostly it's in Europe at the moment. I'd love to sort of try and work a way to make it more popular in South America, North America, in Asia as well. There's a lot of jugglers out there who I think would really enjoy growing Fight Night Combat even more. The way that I fund it in the moment is just by random juggling videos going viral. It's great that How to Avoid Hugs got 28 million views this year, and that's how I'm funding the European Masters final, where I invite jugglers from all over Europe, the best jugglers, the best combat jugglers, to come to Berlin for the ultimate showdown and see if one of us can finally beat Jochen. That's the plan this year. So it takes money to do that, and I can't just rely on random juggling videos going viral to make the funding for this kind of thing. So direct support from jugglers to do this Fight Night Combat. But of course, there's lots of other things that I'd love to do in the future. If I could spend more time doing juggling convention things, juggling things online, I'd be able to do another thing. Just imagine another project like Fight Night Combat, but something as big as that again. But again, it takes a lot of time to do that. So go over to Patreon and Luke Burridge, patreon.com/Luke Burridge, and support me there. There's a few levels. $1 per month. That is just a way to say, yes, Luke, we go for it. And we're going to be starting up the Juggling Podcast again, and that's the way to get access to the Juggling Podcast. I think the Juggling Podcast is going to be Patreon exclusive, so everyone who supports me gets access to that. We'll be doing interviews with jugglers. Me and Juliana will be talking about different things, and that'll be a way for this community to do that kind of thing. But the juggling videos I want to be available to everyone, so the podcast is going to be exclusive to people who support me on Patreon. That's the Cascade tier. $5 a month or more is the 5up360 tier. You get early access to videos, thanks and mentions at the end of juggling podcasts, and of course you get access to the juggling podcast. The qualified juggle level is $10 a month. You get your name in the credits at the end of every Patreon supported video on YouTube. And of course, you get early access to the videos and the juggling podcast as well. There's one level which is $25 a month or more, which is called Clean Finish. Now, I'm not really thinking this will be for most people to support $25 a month a year, although if you could, that would be great. It's more like you bump it up to this for 1 month and then drop it down for the next month. And this, you get to pick, if you give me $25 in 1 month, you get to pick the topic of a juggling video or podcast, or be a guest on a podcast. And there is one other level of Patreon support, which is the convention invite. If you give me $1,000 via Patreon, I'll come to your juggling event convention, document it with a vlog and photos, perform in a workshop. It's perform in a show, sorry, host a few workshops, and organize a Fight Night Combat tournament and take part in it as well. If you're at a convention and you don't have $1,000 to give me to come to your convention, get in touch anyway. But that's a way to assure that I go to a big convention or any convention and give them the full package, all of those kind of things, and to be featured on the vlog and promoted on the vlog in advance. That would be really great. I put some goals here as well, because Patreon told me to do that. So if I get per month $200 per month by Patrons, I'll be doing weekly episodes of the Juggling Podcast. It says here $1,000 per month, I'll do monthly video essays or in-depth research videos per month. And then there's another one here, $5,000 per month, I will quit my job and make juggling videos full time. And not just that, but I say these other projects that I want to work on, things like the Top 40 Jugglers of the Year and Fight Night Combat and other these long-running projects. Again, I can only do if I can spend as much time on them as possible. So who knows, $5,000 per year, would it be worth funding someone full-time just to work for the juggling community, just to do awesome things for the juggling community? Maybe it'll happen. So that's what this Patreon is about. Otherwise, yeah, it would be great to have your support for videos, Fight Night Combat, photos, the Top 40 Jugglers of the Year, juggling calendar, juggling podcasts, and all the other things that I do in juggling world and at juggling conventions. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you'll go over to patreon.com/Luke Burridge. Link in the description. And I'll see you next time on the regular vlog, which is coming back this month.